code can write games. Okay, that's with the caveat. Everyone would elaborate on that, sure. But basically, if you can't write code, you can write games. And if you can't write code, you can learn to write code and then write games. Some of the best-selling mobile games have been written by indies and one-man teams. So one guy sat down and said, I have an idea, I'm going to make this game. It's going to be addictive, it's going to be fun, people are going to like it. Push it to an app store, one person sees it. They do some good social network marketing, it gets viral, and before you know it, 100,000 people have downloaded your app and are playing it. Just one guy. And anyone can self-publish nowadays. Back in the day, you need a publisher. Nowadays, you're done with your game, you think it's great, you've received reviews from people, your friends, other people around you, you think it's time to go. Just go on to any of the app stores and publish, and hope everything works out nicely. Of course, there's a lot of marketing and stuff involved, but the basic idea of being able to get your game done, finish working on my game, I want to push it out there for people to access it. It's a lot easier than it used to be nowadays. And reaching multiple platforms now takes a single one. And this is all thanks to this tool called Unity. So Unity is a cross-platform engine that allows you to write games in 3 languages: Java, C#, or Go. Go is a variation of Python. It's a Python-inspired syntax, so if you're a Python guy, you're probably going to be sticking with Go. What it does is it takes the underlying libraries for writing games, DirectX, OpenGL, and abstracts them in a nice way where you could write one standard code in one language, one of the 3 languages, and you can just hit one button and it will compile to whichever platform you choose. That's easy, right? Are we convinced?
Yeah.
Are we convinced it's easy yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So since we are not convinced, it's demo time. So before I actually show that one, I'm going to go over to a much simpler project. Don't do this on me right now. Okay, I'll talk about it while. Okay, because of the slide. Oops. So we all know Tetris, right?
Yeah.
How many of us have played Tetris? Great game. That's commonly known as. I have. I enjoy it a lot. Up to date. Okay. Now, to prove that actually using this tool to build games is really easy, I took Tetris and said we're going to try and build this up in 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, I didn't finish, obviously. Tetris is kind of a big game. But in 30 minutes, I think I got pretty far. So in 30 minutes, I got a break to drop, and I got to be able to control the break. Well, it still exceeds the boundaries, but it still moves and it drops. Okay? Meaning, given a day, I could actually finish writing a full working Tetris game, right? Now, maybe it's still not proof enough. What I could go ahead and do is to show you how much code actually went into writing this. Okay, so for everything you've seen on there, a break coming down, and I made a number of the breaks too. So for the break dropping at some steady velocity and coming down after every second, it took some 35 lines of code, including brackets and things like that, which don't exactly count. So roughly about 20-25 lines of code. And that's essentially what I'm doing. The key here is not to understand exactly what's going on. Understanding it is just a matter of reading the documentation. The key here is getting from I understand the way things work, to actually writing code to make things happen within your game takes a very minimal amount of code. Okay, and this is all it took to get a brick moving. Unity's main strength against other game tools is the fact that it also offers you a graphical user interface. So if you're an artist, using Unity is quite natural because you get to bring in your artwork and you get to modify your artwork within the engine, and the developer can go ahead and write code and just attach it to whichever artwork you've done and let it behave in a certain way that you guys have decided on. So pretty much that's the way things work in Unity. Artists work, they bring their work in Unity, they place their buildings where they need to be, they place their models where they need to be. Programmers attach behavior to some of the artwork on there, and we have a game. Essentially, that's what it takes. So are we kind of convinced at least that making games in this tool is easy?
Yeah. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I said I was going to try for it. It's pretty important to me that we have this. Anyways, so that's it for trying to build Tetris in 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and load a project I've been working on for a while, and I'll be launching it on Android to start with, and then I'll port it over to iOS soon. So one fine day, I walk into my room and my roommate is there, and I'm like, dude, let's make a worry. And he's like, nah, why make a worry? And I'm like, oh, it sounds like a fun project. Of course, I wasn't doing anything. I was pretty free, and I was just waiting to get into international service. So there was a lot of excitement and all. So before I actually start building up my models. And you can build models like this in a tool called Maya. Blender is what I meant to say. So I started off trying to put a model together. That's the ORA board. Okay, just to make sure at least I can see an ORA board. And that's enough motivation for me to actually build the game. So I start modeling, and I get to the point where I realize, oh, I don't know how many pits there are on the board. So what do I do? So I call up my mom and I say, hey, how many pits are there on an ORA board? And she says there are 6. So I get back to, I started with 5. So I scrapped the 5 and then I built one with 6. And I see the way it looks inside the engine, and I feel like, let's make the game. And that's how it started. A couple of weeks later, I had a fully functioning working game, and I built it all in this tool. Of course, this didn't take only 35 lines of code. It took a bit more work. It still took a lot less lines of code than you would actually do it in a standard, C environment, C++, trying to build your game from scratch, or even Microsoft XNA, which kind of makes things easy. And then I built this up, and it was actually running on PC, and somebody asked me a question and said, why don't you run this on Android or on iOS? And I thought to myself, oh, that would be really hard, because all the time I've been building this, I've been thinking about PCs and Macs and so on. And I go and sit down and think about what this guy says, and like, let's give it a shot. After all, this is supposed to be a cross-platform tool. I've just not used it in that way. 15 minutes after that thought, I have it running on Android. It took 15 minutes. No kidding. It was that easy. So the irony of it all is that ORE ended up actually being a mobile game after all of that. I currently have it running on Android, and I'll do a short demo of it. Yeah, versus Anansi is just yeah.
You did all the modeling in Blender?
Yeah, I did a lot of the modeling in Blender, and some in other tools, but mostly Blender. Yeah, so you play against Anansi. Anansi is kind of like the dude who you always play against in an ORE game, but it's never present. And he has different levels, so you can choose one of them and just play against them. This pretty much chooses which of the players comes first, either you or Anansi. Once it's decided choosing, you just point to the direction that he supposed to play first, and he starts with attach models and some scripting. They come together. You put in your game logic, and you have gameplay. And that's what I've been working around for a couple of months now, and now we are more as it is. So yeah, this has been my it exceeded 10 minutes, but it's my presentation to try and convince people here today that this is a very vibrant industry. It's very green in Africa. ARM is doing a super great job with trying to make things big with game development here and Leti Games, I must say. But I think it's not enough. I think we all have to get in there. We have so many stories to tell, so many. Anansi is one. So Konfanochi, there is the North and all the battles that they had over there. Every time I go to bed, I dream about the day that somebody would come out, any of us would come out with a game that tells the story of Tohugu, one of those guys in the North who, became chief and was dethroned. And all of these nice stories we used to hear during social studies. I think it's interesting, and I think our kids don't really appreciate them very much. Children growing up right now don't appreciate them very much because they're not presented in a way where they can really appreciate it. But imagine if you package that into a game and you made it available on mobile. That would just be amazing, both for the local market and the international market. More so the international market because in this part of the world it's green. And there's something I personally call the Osibisa effect, where there is nothing known about the part of the world you come from. There's a lot of expectation. So if you go out there and you show the world that this is Africa and this is how games in Africa look like, they embrace it. Okay, and so here's what I think, and I think we can really do something great with this industry in our part of the world and in the world at large, and we can cash in on some of that money, hopefully. So that's it. Do you have any questions? Question? Anyone? There.
It's not a question. I'm very impressed with everything. I'm just waiting for the day, in this presentation like this, so I'm waiting for the day you say, I quit my job. I got $1,000 in a week and I quit my job, and then I made this. Like, I'm waiting for the day you stand here and then tell us that. Yeah, so what I just also want to say is, yes, it's been presented as like easy, get going, but probably the anatomy, like, if you can just expose how it's put together a bit. Yeah, just
So a short tutorial.
Yeah, like not the tutorial, but then how you bring the objects, like probably for this or a game, what constitutes it, so that like a lay person, if he wants to start a game.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know if I should do that demo with the Tetrix or the Overlay.
I think
Maybe I can
Overlay
use
is
this. Okay.
much more.
So here we have a lot of artwork. Okay, this wasn't coded. These were done in external tools like Blender. Okay, and the way you bring them into Unity is simply drag your file from Blender and drop it in Unity, and Unity picks it up from there. Your file that you edited in Blender is within Unity, and you can continue to edit them. So once you put all your models in place, your models are like actors without any scripts. They don't have anything to do, but you can still place them there. Any artist can just go on and do that bit. Next, what happens is you have to attach what you call components to these objects to bring them to life. Okay, and some of the components are already in Unity. Some components like lighting, they exist. Components that make objects respond to physics. So like if an object falls down, the way it behaves and things like that. Those are all available within the engine. Of course, if you think that's not enough, you can go ahead and write your own. And then there are the components that we write. Okay, these are called the behaviors. The behaviors are what control what actually happens within the game. So if you take a look at the hand model, for instance, take a look at the hand model. It moves around almost as if it has life in it. It's pretty much just an artwork that was pre-animated from a package, Blender, brought into Unity, and we just gave it a script. Now the script is what you write. I did mention earlier on that you can write scripts in C# or JavaScript or Ruby. After you're done writing that script, it doesn't have to be after. You can actually attach it to the object and edit the object as you keep working on the game and see how the object obeys what you've written in the script. So the script pretty much defines logic for how objects in the game are supposed to behave. Okay, so for the hand, for instance, I have something called a hand script, which tells it, okay, move, stop, animate this way, animate that way, go to this position. There are literally pieces of code that have go to position, and then I specify a position, and the hand just goes there. Fetch, and then it will fetch. Move to, and then it will just keep moving like that. So you write the behaviors, attach that behavior to the object that you want that behavior to control, and hit play. Once you hit play, you look at how the object responds to your behavior. It's not going to work on the first try, most likely. And you're going to have to be tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until you arrive at the behavior you want a particular game object to exhibit. And then it will do exactly that. For a game like this, you have to write a number of behaviors to control different things. One for the entire game logic in this case, and others for little things like the hand control, the pebbles moving around, and so on. So essentially that's what it is. What it's called is a component object model. You have an object, which is these objects that you see on the scene, and then you attach components to that object to make it behave in a certain way. Some of the components are pre-built in Unity, so you can just attach them and they'll work. Others you write yourself, and those ones will give your game object the behavior. That's about it in a nutshell. I hope I've answered Ariam's question more or less. Yes.
Based on the tools, aside from Blender, which other tools do you use?
So I'll go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So I use Blender mainly for the models, but I like freebies.
The student license, it's a 3D game, so that's why you're using it.
Yes, it's a 3D game, and that's why I'm using Blender to do it. You don't always need 3D tools to build things like this. So I specified GIMP, for instance. GIMP is kind of like the open source version of Photoshop. So you can use GIMP to do 2D artwork and still use that within Unity. You don't need 3D artwork to do a game. If your game has to be 2D, you can just build up 2D artwork within a 2D package like GIMP, and you're good to go. There's 3D Max student license. Yes, it's student. Yes, it's free, but not commercial. So you can use it to play around, practice, build stuff. But the moment you're ready to go commercial, you probably have to have a talk with the 3D Max guys and say, hey guys, your licenses are too expensive. Let's do something about it, or I'll run away to Blender. And maybe they'll do something about it. Probably not though. There's Google SketchUp, which has been an amazing resource with regards to prototyping. When you want to quickly put something together and you don't have the artist at hand to get you the car or get you the aeroplane you need or get you the model who has to run, Google SketchUp is your friend. They have an online database called 3D Warehouse that has almost any model you can think of. It's powered by Google Search, so you just go in there, type in a cat, and you'll get a cat. Type a dog, you get a dog. Type in a robot from Transformers, you'll get one. Type in anything you can think of, you'll get it. And you can just drag it and drop it in your editor, and you can move on from there. You have to check, however, what the license agreements are on those models. If you can actually use them for an actual game, great. If you can't, consult the person who did the artwork. But it's still a great resource for prototyping. There's nothing against using it to prototype your work, for instance. And then when you're ready to hire the artist to actually do the real things, you go ahead and do that. There is also
It's Unity free.
okay, so is Unity free? What do you think?
Yes, no,
It's free.
Yes, no, maybe so. Correct answer. So yeah, I also didn't mention Shade. Shade is also a free tool on Mac OS for modeling in Unity. It's just as powerful as 3D Studio Max. And you can use it to make models for free and write commercial games with it. Is Unity free? So the answer yes, no, maybe so is very true. Unity as a game engine is free of charge. You can use it to build games and publish games and make money on the published games. As a matter of fact, I used the free Unity to build this game throughout. There was no point at which I said, I'm tired and I'm restricted by this free tool and I have to go pro. They have a pro version that has quite a hefty price tag. It's $1,500. Yeah.
CDs.
It's $1,500. But they've come a long way. The actual tool used to be at $400 as well, but they've removed all those funny little licenses for the basic indie developer who just gets up one day and doesn't have $1,500 and still wants to make a cross-platform game. It's free for all the other platforms as well. So which means if you make a game and you intended it for PC originally, you can quickly port to iOS at no charge, you can port to Android at no charge, you can port to Windows Phone at no charge. I should show you what the platforms are you can port to. So when you're ready to build your game, what you do is you go to build settings. Okay, so you finish coding, you want to port. You have access to web, you can do Mac, PC, and Linux. You can do iOS, you can do Android, BlackBerry, Google Native Client, Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, Windows Store Apps, or Windows Phone 8. You have access to all of that without writing any extra code. In an ideal world, but you sometimes have to write very platform-specific code in some cases. But that's pretty much it. So Unity, as I'm using it, is free. There's a pro version that gives you access to a whole lot of other things. Now the pro version is preferred because the pro guys like to do all these other crazy things that indies would probably not do. The other thing is also they're intentionally blocking some things. Up until the version 4, shadows weren't free. They had to be in the pro version. That was annoying because I wanted shadows in my game and I wanted it to look as realistic as possible. So what I ended up doing was faking shadows. And I think it worked great for me. Even though they introduced shadows in version 4, I still stuck to my fake version. I'm fine. So for the bits of it that aren't free, you probably don't notice until you want to do something really crazy. But even if you want to do something really crazy and you would have to do it in the pro version, you would always find a workaround in the free version. However, if your game is successful and it sells great and you make $1,005 plus, there's nothing that's stopping you from getting the pro version and doing greater things with it. So yes, it is free.
One last question. With regards to the hardware, actually, I know sometimes if you are rendering, you really need good specs. What kind of specs do you advise?
Okay, so Unity is actually meant for building both 2D and 3D games. The specs you need basically boils down to where you want to deploy. If you want some nice, good, smooth workflow without your machine freezing and so on, you're probably okay with a 4-gig RAM laptop, some sizable hard drive, an i3 would work. I started working with Unity, and at the time I think I was using a Pentium 4 hyper-threader, and it was still taking it quite fine. Almost every machine I've run it on, it works quite seamlessly. Your limitation would come as and when you start to add models and more polygons onto your scene. The more the polygons you add onto your scene, the more it will affect your frame rates. And so you always want to watch how many objects you're adding on there, and you, as much as possible, want to rely on tricks to reduce the cost of actually importing heavy objects, heavy models into the game. You can tell, for instance, on my Worry board, they are not exactly perfectly rounded corners. You can see some jagged edges, but that's just so that it will perform nicely on a high-end phone as well as a mid-range or a low-end phone, and it wouldn't complain too much. So sometimes you must take a lot of things into consideration on that regard as well. Not
Okay. Okay. How many hours do you think you put into this roughly?
Man, honest.
Yeah. Estimate this.
I unfortunately I can't estimate very accurately, but
Okay.
I can give you how my work cycle on it has been like. So every year, and I've been working on this for about 2 years. So every year, 2 years and a few months. Every year, something descends on me, epiphany, call it whatever, and tells you work on that game. And then for like a month, I'm addicted to working on this game. I spend all the hours after work, 4 hours after work, for an entire month just working on it. And then after that month, kind of goes away, and then I leave it as it is. The following year, the same cycle happens. Finally, this year, I'm ready to publish.
No, I mean, I get that, but I mean, let's say, how long will it take you to get the working version on the very first time? I mean, the
1 week.
basics for a week.
Yes.
How many hours were you putting in the work?
So that's after work. So by 5 till 1 a.m. often. That was my work cycle. 5 p.m. till 1 a.m. every day. So after work, 5 p.m. 1 a.m. 5 p.m. 1 a.m. for a week. And then it started working. Of course, I didn't have the fancy hand moving around, but they were worrying.
Okay.
Then I pretty much remember. I said this long ago.
Yeah.
Very long ago. So that's like that tells you game is hard to make. Like you need to think, have the creative time, and when you are making it, you have to dedicate the whole period. So yeah, the passion in there is a hard part, and then just keep going.
So yeah.
You got a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, how do you publish it on their platforms?
How do I publish it on 10 platforms?
Yeah, all them platforms.
Well, my approach, and I'm quite a newbie in this industry, so I'm still learning. My approach has been to hit one platform, do all the marketing and whatever it is you have to do on that platform, and once it gains some velocity and is stable, start working on the other platforms, one after the other. I think it's a bad idea to roll out onto all of them at once, because then you are tied to bug fixing for all of these platforms, especially when you're developing on Android. Android is quite a beast to take, because it will work on one phone, and then some dude will give you 1 star on play because his Huawei. I'm not hitting on anybody. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes here. But basically, what I'm saying is some low-end phone couldn't handle it well. Somebody's going to hit you with 1 star, and they would say, "I wish I could even give it 0 stars if I could." So it's a bit tricky, but you make sure you're comfortable on one platform, you're getting great reviews, your game is stable, and it's running nicely. Then you think, okay, I'm going to roll out onto iOS, and then you start working on that. And I'm going to roll out onto BlackBerry. But releasing it all at once, you wouldn't be able to deal with all of the bugs that will come your way unless you can, have a duplicate of yourself for each platform.
But like, do you have to like contact them or make like rights licenses or shit like that before you can actually put it in the?
Okay, so that's a good question. For a lot of the platforms, they have self-publishing. What that means is, once you're done, you've paid the necessary license fees associated with actually publishing on these platforms. And I can state a few. On Android, it's $25, $26. And then you can go on